We're live. We are live. Greggy C, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you. I'm so excited about starting off the podcast tonight.
No, really, I'm very excited. I put a nice blast out. And a little bit during the show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, sharing this on Facebook. So, for those that are actually listening to us now, and can hear us, the first thing we really would like you to do is, besides subscribing to our channel, make sure that you like our channel and comment tonight. We want to see some comments going back and forth. I already saw one of my comrades, Vinny or Vince, said hello, and he's in the room or in one of the multiple rooms here, doing our thing. So my name is Greg Curran, and I'm here with Mr. David Hansen. And this is In the Queue podcast. It's really what we're here to do. It's entertainment or it's education for entertainers, basically helping you in whatever facets that you do to help you become a better entertainer. So really, that's the meat and potatoes of the show. We'll go over everything else of what we're going to do, the different things that we're going to do. But it's going to be entertainment education with your hosts, Greg Curran, DJ Greggy C.
And your boy, David Hanscom. What's up? And not only is it going to be education, but we're also going to do product reviews. We're going to have guest people to come on and interview those folks. We want to make sure that people understand that it's going to be not just about DJs. I mean, Greg and I are both DJs, but we really want to help the whole entertainment industry. So we're going to have all kinds of folks on here with us, and we're going to provide education. And as Greg said, we want you guys to comment, drop your comments. We'll see them come through. If you have questions, if you want to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. We want this to be about you, not about us. So whatever we can do to make that happen, Greg, we need to do that. Why don't we start off maybe a little bit? Can you share a little bit about your history, about your past in the entertainment industry, and maybe we set the table there? And one more comment I want to make right before you do that. I do want to also remind everybody that we will have a replay of this. All right. So if for any reason that you're not watching it live, or if you have to step away, there will be a replay available on our YouTube channel. Felix says, oh, what's up, Greggy? So what's up, Felix? Thanks for joining us. And sorry, Greg, I asked you a question and I cut you off real quick. I apologize for that. But tell us just a little bit about yourself, your background, your history in the industry.
Yeah, no, look, I'm involved in a lot of things. I got my hands in a lot of different things in the entertainment industry. I was probably 18, 19 years old when I started to DJ, probably like everybody else, and recording songs off the radio with your little tape player, your boombox. But I really started doing this professionally with a company that was called The Pros DJs, or the American Wedding Group. And that was about 24, well, geez, it's over 30 years now. But I was with them for 24 years before, look, eventually things happened, things changed. The whole industry, has changed within the past 5 years anyway. Those companies that were so grande and large aren't so grande and large anymore. And the whole industry has evolved, and not to do with COVID, but the whole industry has evolved where the smaller companies are now more important. It's almost like a millennial move. And now with COVID, it's let's support those small businesses. So anyway, 24 years with the Pros and the American Wedding Group, and really one of the best rides I ever had in my career. With what I did, I learned so much, and I got to teach so many disc jockeys in this industry. But it was not only disc jockeys, it was videography and photography that I got my hands into, and then other facets of the industry. So we moved from there. I also started my work on radio at a company called 91.1 WBUQ. I then moved on while I worked for the Pros for a little bit and worked for a station called WIOQ for a little bit. It's Q102 in Philadelphia. As time evolved, I really was with this company, the Pros, as a non-compete manager, all-in type of thing for that 24 years. But I would say 20 years into it, going to the DJ Expo and the MBLV in Vegas, and especially Atlantic City yearly for 24 years, that made me, I met a lot of new people and got myself involved with a lot of companies. One of them being PV Electronics, and they currently sponsor myself and the school. So PV Electronics is behind me, along with, and I'd like to point out, one of the bigger sponsors of this show right here is the National Association of Mobile Entertainers. Yeah, right above David's head. Name Entertainers. They legitimize any entertainer in this industry with that badge above his head, because it means that you are investing in your business, you are insured, and you're doing the right things, and you're learning from the right people. You're with a great organization. So speaking of great organizations, I'm also involved with what's called the Senate DJs. They're a national organization that holds DJ and entertainment to a higher level, being a professional, being the best that you can be, which is something that's rare in this world today. But I'm proud, to be a member of them. But there's also other companies that hopefully I'm going to bring along to the show that have gotten behind me: Floyd Rose Audio, BPM Supreme, Glowtronics. So these are companies that in the future I'm going to hopefully share with everybody, share the product reviews, things of that sort, especially with Name, especially with PV, product reviews, and explain what all the stuff is. What else do I have? I'm the owner of Current Entertainment and the DJ Entertainment School, which is below David there. And I saw one of my star students is actually in the room supporting me tonight. His name is DJ Young Fresh Prince. And I encourage everybody and anybody who is an entertainer to check this young man out. Once again, Young Fresh Prince. Pretty easy. You check him out, you see his work. He has evolved within the past 5 years, and it's amazing. As a matter of fact, he has a remix that Naughty by Nature picked up. And there's a couple other artists that this gentleman is working with. Oh yeah, there's a few that that this guy has been working with, and he is just exploding. So a shout out to Young Fresh Prince. Once again, I mentioned the DJ Entertainment School that I'm the owner of, Current Entertainment. I'm also a member of what's called the International DJ Cafe. The International DJ Cafe is another organization that's local, our South Jersey chapter, and there's a Philadelphia chapter, bringing local DJs together to express their creativity and their individuality. We get together, everybody plays a 20-minute set, learns from each other, and has some fun on a Tuesday night, one Tuesday night a month. I'm also, just like David is, one of the advisory board members for the National Association of Mobile Entertainers, who are one of the largest providers of insurance, but not just insurance, education. This being one of the benefits for Name, we're blasting out to all the members that this podcast in general is going to hopefully help you take your game, take your business to the next level. And you're hopefully going to learn a thing or two. So if we touch one person tonight, or somebody learns, how to get that extra $100 or that extra gig from what we're talking about, I think we've done our job. I'm also the audio video manager for what's called Vesper Sporting Clubs in Philadelphia. They're really, really nice high-end nightclubs in the Philadelphia area. And I have a great time there. And I got that also through DJ Soho, one of my buddies there at the Senate DJs. Felix was in the house. I'm also part of a band called Not Exactly. So it's a fun jam band. We play old head classic rock. I don't know if I shared you one of our videos, but you can find us online. Not exactly. We suck. We're hard. No, actually, we're pretty good. I'm the one that sucks. They have me as a lead singer. God forbid.
That's hilarious.
What else do I have? Do I have any? I mean, God, I've got so much more else. I'm a proud husband, a father of a 13-year-old girl in about 4 more days. And yeah, I could go on. If I missed anything, I'm sure people will put stuff, in the chat and explain it. So that's enough about me. How about you, David?
Well, first of all, I don't understand how you have time to do all that stuff, but I think that's pretty awesome that you have been involved in all of those things. And much like you, I think this industry has been a part of my life basically since I was in high school. And just to kind of reset things a little bit for those that might be joining us or those that are just jumping on, tonight's format is going to be a little bit different. We're just kind of setting the tone for the show. We're just trying to let everybody know what to expect from our show. This is an opportunity for you guys to be able to really learn from some top leaders in this industry. And it's so important to make sure, hey, DJ Natural Laura, thanks for checking in with us, man. Happy New Year to you, buddy. And he follows us on our other show as well. Thank you so much, man. It's just so important to have opportunities to learn from people. And, you don't have to allow somebody or let somebody change everything that you do. But even if you pick up one nugget from somebody, one thing that can make what you're doing good already even better, then it's worth it. And let's be honest, there's a lot of education out there on how to do the craft of DJing. But is there always as much education out there about how to make a business out of your craft and really create? Hey, Mark, good to see you. Another one of our fellow board members. Matt checked in earlier. He's another one of our fellow board members. So, we really want to provide not just the technical aspect of you as an entertainer, but also the back end professional aspect of an entertainer, because at the end of the day, why work so hard to be the best at what you can be and not be able to be rewarded by it? And I understand some people do it for the love of doing it, but at the end of the day, you got to pay your bills. And at the end of the day, if there's a value at what you have to offer, then you should be compensated accordingly for that value. So we just want to help out with everybody, help them have the opportunity to do that. So a little bit about my background. And Greg, thanks for sharing yours, man. I mean, I just learned something again about you that I didn't even know before tonight. So that's the cool thing about really being able to learn about each other.
I'm an ordained minister too, and I've performed over 80 weddings.
Oh my goodness, this guy.
Two funerals, and I baptized 4 heathen children.
No, that's okay, man. Thank you. We want to get it all out. So my background actually started in high school. I originally wanted to play professional baseball. I thought that was going to be my thing, either baseball or basketball. And unfortunately, before I even got out of high school, I had to have reconstructive surgery on both of my ankles, not at the same time, at 2 different times. Literally had to learn to walk again both of those times. And, my parents were the kind of people that were very supportive, but my parents were not the kind of people that would necessarily be like, hey, Eric, good to see you. Not that my parents would say that, but we want to give you a shout out. My parents were the kind of people that were like, hey, what else do you like? And I was like, well, shit, I don't really know. I love music. And I love to be a class clown. So I don't know, maybe being a DJ would be a cool thing. And my parents actually set me up with the local radio and television broadcasting station. My dad was in the military, so we were stationed in Bermuda at the time when we did that. So, I ended up going a lot of people, you go to school half a day, you go to this co-op work type opportunity the other half of the day. I went to a Department of Defense school, so I already had enough credits to graduate actually when I was in 10th grade. So it gave me an opportunity to really explore this. Hey, thank you so much, Official GPS Productions. Thank you for that. We hope you will continue to keep coming back and joining us. I had the opportunity to go work on the Navy-based radio and television station, and I just really fell in love with being on the radio and being able to have this platform where, you could do good in the world. You could play music. People resonate with music. People love music. Timmy, what's up, man? Giving you a shout out there, Greg. Your boy Timmy checking in. Your music moves people and it takes you to certain places in history. You hear a song and you can, man, I know exactly where I was when I first heard that song. And so it gave us the opportunity to do that. And then with the added ability to put one of these in front of your face and actually be able to talk to people and communicate with people and do it for good. It was just a great thing. I loved it. I fell in love with it immediately. And so really I started off in radio. Then when I moved back to the States, I actually went to get a degree in radio broadcasting and finished up with that, and then found out, holy shit, not too many people in radio make much money. So what else can I do with everything I've learned? And so I kind of met a few other people around town, and a guy suggested doing weddings, doing private events, doing corporate events and things like that. And it was all, foreign language to me, but I was like, shit, why not? It sounds like a great idea to me. So I really started doing a lot of research. Now, Greg, I know you were there around the same time I was, so I'm going to date myself a little bit, but I was actually thumbing through the yellow pages and going to all these DJ companies and just reaching out to them saying, hey, listen, I have a background in radio. There's not a lot of money right now available in this area to do that. So, I wanted to, I wanted to be able to see what else I could do, explore what else I could do. I knew that I had a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit even back then as well. So I was like, I think this is something I might want to do one day, but I didn't want to insult the industry. Like, I wanted to learn the business side of things. I had the technical side of things down pretty packed. I knew that I could continue with experience and practice and all those other things. I knew I could continue to build upon that. But if I didn't learn the business, I knew there was no college degree on how to run a mobile DJ entertainment business. There's no college degree you could get in that. So this was the next best thing for me. So I really started subcontracting with a bunch of other companies. And at one point, I think I was working for like 6 different companies at the same time, which was a little challenging when I had like 6 different little business card holders and I had to like look at my paperwork each weekend and be like, okay, which one am I working for this weekend? And make sure I put the right business cards out there. So I'll fondly remember that. But probably the most important lesson I feel like I learned in the industry in the early days, there were times where I spent more money on gas going to the event and back home than I got paid to do the event. And it really was a big lesson to me in humility. It was a big lesson to me in understanding that there's something bigger to this than just my ego. And I need to just set that aside for a minute and pay my dues and learn and understand and grow and get better. If I wanted people to reward me, I needed to be worth what I wanted them to reward me for. So it really taught me that really, really early on. And I've just stuck with that ever since.
Good. No, look, that was one of the first things that I didn't understand when I was younger. That a lot of the older DJs said, well, you're going to have to learn your lumps, they said, or you're green behind the ears. So
thank you, Timmy. I appreciate that. Timothy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, what's up, Tim? Shout out to Tim. And thank you, everybody. I see your names in there and you're all sending those comments out. I really appreciate you all coming out, and checking this out, this new venture that we have going on. But yeah, no, it's about learning your lumps, getting out there and if you want to do this and you have the passion, hell, I started like all the other cliche DJs you heard. I took 2 speakers out of my house. I had an old, and I'm going to date myself, realistic amplifier that belonged in my parents' living room, and that's what I used to play music. I had a turntable that was belt driven. Christ, I think most of the stuff that I could have grabbed, I grabbed it at a thrift store. If I needed a tape deck or if I needed something, and I put it together and it worked. And back then, I didn't know what backup was. You know what? I needed my lumps. I needed something to happen. Listen again. All right. Here's a learning moment, everybody. I had to learn when my amp died. I had to learn when my amp died that maybe I should carry a second amp. Or maybe I should carry this or that, or an emergency kit that has duct tape, that has, all of those things. I need an extra pair of headphones. Oh my goodness gracious. Or an extra microphone or an extra this. Not only just having people's numbers that are local to me. If David, you were local and not where you are, you'd be one of the guys that I would have on call. And I practice that today with my company, that hopefully my guys are nice and tight so that they know if we're too busy, there will be one guy sitting waiting for doomsday to happen that gets paid, and then the rest of them, if they're not working, then one guy that's not paid, we have a system where I'll call my guy and say, hey, look, we got a gig for you. Can you help us out? And it always comes down to the point where you got to throw some money at somebody and say, here, this is how bad I need you. But
well, and here's a funny thing that lesson that I learned, and I listened to you talking about the equipment and stuff like that. And by the way, also before I go into that, if you guys have questions, if you have topics you want us to bring up, I noticed Official GPS put one in there, and we're going to jump into that in just a second to kind of help out with that. So if you guys have those, put them in the comments, and we're going to try to get to everything we can tonight. But early on when I was transitioning from radio, moving into doing the mobile stuff and all of that, when I worked at radio, of course, everything was there. I just had to show up and do my job. Everything was there. And not only that, a lot of the people that I was rubbing elbows with and people I was connecting with were all celebrities and things like that. So when I started getting into doing this, the first phone call I made was to a friend of mine out of Orlando called DJ Magic Mike. And maybe some of you guys hopefully some of you guys have definitely heard of him. If you haven't, definitely do some research on him, because amazing DJ and so forth. And so I called Mike and I said, hey man, I'm gonna jump into this DJing thing out of the radio and jump into doing private gigs and stuff like that. What should I get? And so he tells me all this equipment to get. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this guy is getting paid like $2,000 a night to spin. He probably has people that sponsors him for this equipment. He's giving me the best advice. Don't get me wrong, but it put me in a position to where I was already in debt for like the first 8 months of me even being in business. And I was like, if I could go back and change anything, that is the first thing I would have went back and changed, because there was so many other pieces of equipment that I could have purchased at a much lesser price that would have done the things that I needed to do while I was building, a name for myself and building myself up to where I went from making $10 an hour, which, by the way, for you guys that are maybe just starting out DJing, like when I first started, that's what I was making, like $10 an hour. You know what I mean? And so as I moved up that chain, I really wish that I would have done things differently. And I always try to advise people now, get what you need. Don't get what you want right now. Get what you need to do the job, and utilize that equipment to build a name for yourself, to build a reputation for yourself. And then remember this phrase: spend out of profit, not out of pocket. If you want to upgrade equipment, if you want to get new equipment, if you want to get better equipment, then utilize the money that you're DJing with and set that money aside and periodically update your equipment. And if you need to have a job and this in the meantime, and this has to be kind of a side hustle for you, then do that. Don't go into debt for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just because you think you have to have the best equipment out there in order to compete. Because at the end of the day, it's not about necessarily that equipment. I know this is not always going to be a popular opinion, but I'm telling you from somebody who cares about making money and doesn't care about what you think about the equipment that I use it will work for you. I promise.
Look, your point is, look, you have to have good equipment. You have to take care of your equipment. You know how long that amp lasted me before then you start blowing fuses because I've got bigger speakers. Well, now I've got bigger speakers and I'm using a house amp. It all snowballed. Once again, I got my lumps, but I learned that you need quality stuff. I wish what I would remember what my wife had just said to me about a half an hour ago about, and I'm going to write this down. It was a phrase, but it was very similar to don't sweat the little things. If you're going to spend some money and it's going to boost your business and you're going to make some money from it, it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run. If it's going to help you make money, that investment is a little tiny step on the way to greatness.
But in the same breath, it has to make sense. There's literally, I mean, the difference between a 1,500 for the guys that DJ, for example, on controllers, the difference between a $1,200 to $1,500 controller and a $700 to $800 controller is really not that big of a difference. For what you're going to be doing, unless you're more of a technical DJ and stuff like that. And then I understand, but if you're doing weddings and you're doing, basic events like this, then, there is nothing wrong with the example I'm talking about in getting that $700 or $800 controller first. And then setting aside either a percentage, or if you can afford to do all of it, then save up your money to be able to purchase that $1,200, $1,500 controller that maybe you really would prefer to have. And then now you not only have the one you want, but you have a backup, but you didn't go in super debt to make that happen. So I just think it's really important. I'm gonna go to some of these some of these comments real quick. Vince said, I was making $12.50 an hour when I started DJing my first gig. I also had a realistic amplifier, 2 tape decks, a turntable, and a microphone, 2 speakers. Yeah, I remember using tape decks. How much of a pain in the ass was that to DJ with? And then Vince also says, I use my tips to buy equipment with. That's perfect. Absolutely. Hey, Greg, let's do we want to put a button on that, or do you have anything you want to add to that? I just want to make sure that we don't get too far off of Official GPS Productions question before we go on.
It's the building blocks of what we do. Besides knowing, and being educated about how to do events, it's having the right equipment. I mean, it's the right equipment and the right equipment. I mean, that's the way it's got to work. It's got to last you. It's got to be a tank. That's why I'm with the company called PV Electronics. Back in the day, 25, 30 years ago, the pros gave us these PV mixer amps. Hell, they're still working to this day. Yeah. They're still working to this day. So that's what I mean by tanks. Things that will last. And things that, will get you to make money. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to be doing so much more in the future about equipment, what to start with, because what did they have? And I did it before at the place I was talking about, the International DJ Cafe. They let you do a 20-minute set. Most guys are coming out there with their turntables, their Tech 12s. I got them. You see them right behind me, but I came out and I DJ'd my 20-minute set from, what was it, a WeGo, or what is that, a DJ to go, a Newmark DJ to go. So I bought out the DJ to go 2, and here I am with this tiny little thing, and everybody else got their big coffins. And look, I much love to my friends. These are my friends, my comrades that I grew up with. And I came out there, and they looked at me kind of like, what's this dude doing? They looked at me kind of crazy, but they didn't know what to expect from me. But they thought it was a joke. They didn't know. But as I showed them, all of a sudden it was just like, ooh, wait a second, what's he doing? I did the same thing with this little device from Monster. Monster started making about 5 years ago. They brought it out. It was a standalone DJ player, all in one, that was the size of 2 iPhones put together. Wow. And it was the wow factor of that. I'll bring it out on a future show and show you guys. But just the wow factor in DJing off that, bought out the phones, bought out the cameras, and oh wow, what's that? That's the other thing I try to teach. And what I think that maybe this podcast will get off on people is the wow factor. Being able to have them say, wow, look at him. I mean, I think I told you earlier, when I'm out entertaining my crowds or doing a dance or whatever it is, and I know I'm having a problem, I'll put on a funny hat and some sunglasses so they're looking and laughing at me, so that at least I get a few guys on the floor and they don't feel self-conscious like people are looking and laughing at them. It's my job as the entertainer to do that. I laugh all the way to the bank. People say, oh, I'm going to feel funny. Well, feel funny. Then feel funny. Maybe the job isn't for you, or that portion of the job isn't for you. So
right, absolutely. Hey, let's jump into this question real quick. I know you're definitely a technical guy, so I might veto this to you. So, question is: here's a topic. You have a gig, and a client wants to know the total amperage of your sound setup, etc., PA and subs. How does one find that info on the PAs and subs?
Easy. Go to the website. Grab the model number. Go straight to the menu. Nowadays with the internet, technology's at your fingertips. That's how you find it out. I mean, it's funny because I have DJs constantly that are bringing me stuff. Hey, can you do this? Do you have school students that need it? I think I showed you, all the CDs that I have. I've got an old Behringer right here, right in front of me. This is an old mixer amp right there that somebody has given me. And it says it right on there. It's 250 watts, 250 watts times 2, or 500 watts bridged mono, for those that know what that means. And stay tuned to a future episode. We'll tell you what that is. But to answer the question fully, if you do not have your manual, which I suggest you keep, or at least a digital PDF of it, you can find it there, especially in the specifications. But always go to the manufacturer's website. They will have it there.
That's great advice. Great advice. Okay. Todd says, hey, Greggy, you DJ'd at my daughter's wedding. She's divorced, but that's not your fault.
Why didn't you now here's the thing. Why didn't you call me for the divorce party?
There you go, right?
That's the other thing. Once you're a DJ for somebody, and that brings me to a point, you become their family disc jockey if you do a good job. Not only are you doing a daughter's wedding, you're doing their birthday, you're doing their bar mitzvah, their communion, whatever it may be. You're every part of that family's life. And then when they have people that are getting married or when parties, they're going to call on you too. You know, I've got many clients that are like that. You know, and it's all within the family, as shall I say. So
yeah, absolutely. And DJ Natural R says, so important to mention invest in equipment, but more important to discuss with your tax prepper or advisor before you buy for business to confirm that it makes sense for tax time. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Great point.
That's a great point. And look, sometimes if you're making money hand over fist and you're that guy that has that old stuff in the back, well, I still have my belt-driven turntables, but I'm making $80,000 a year. Then, you know, it's time to invest in equipment. You know, that's a person that should put out that type of money. But if you have the money, put it out. If you don't, you know, do the best that you can. But yeah, talk to your tax professional or your business consultants on that.
Vince says, are you sure my clients that all I need is a 20 amp outlet to DJ my shows? Okay.
It depends that if that, well, Vince, funny you should ask. It's all upon what you draw, the amps that you draw. Once again, I mean, there is a chart that you could put it together and find out, but I wouldn't be hooking up 5 or 6 amps, you know, amps as in amplifiers, or, you know, the old school lights that are LED. I wouldn't put a whole lighting show plugged into your DJ equipment and go into that outlet.
Yeah.
Correct?
That makes a lot of sense. I love this guy. I love this guy's name, DJ Too Tough, the Deuce Ace Detonator. My God.
I
love this name.
He's going to be one of our future guests, actually, and I encourage everybody that's out there. This is DJ Too Tough from a band called Tough Crew. Tough Crew is a great hip hop band from Philly. And
yeah, they are.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I encourage you all to check out who Tough Crew is, their music, their songs. And if you're from Philly, you know who these guys are. He is the DJ Too Tough. And we've been friends for a while now. And I surround myself with great people. He's one of the great, you know, guys that I surround myself with. I think Vince is in there. Vince is another one that's part of Current Entertainment. You know, I think Gabe is in the house. There's a bunch of guys. You know, you surround yourself with those great people. And
speaking of that, I want to just do something real quick here, because one of the things that's super important to me is community. So number one, up above, I got to get my point right here. Up above Greg there in the Cube podcast. If you're on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. Okay, below Greg. So Greg, point right down below you. Right down below you, Greg. So right down there below Greg is where you can follow me and Greg on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And this is the last part of this that I want to do. I want you guys to please, in the comments, drop your social handle right now. I'm going to put them up on the screen, and I want you guys to go follow each other. I want you guys to connect with each other, because community is the most important thing that we all need right now. I'm not going to spend any time talking about the elephant in the room, which is COVID. It's still going on. And the best thing that we can do is support each other and help each other. So if you want to be a part of that community, then please, in the comments, and I think that the live version of this is probably a little bit delayed. So as I'm saying it, it might take a second for those to show up. But as they do, I'm going to post those up. If you guys would like to have the rest of our followers connect with you on social media, please throw your handle up there. We're going to show you guys love, just like we're asking you to show us love.
Yeah, look, that's a great point, Dave, and it actually leads into one of the multiple things that I want to talk about on our show, and that is, you know, what they call SEO, search engine optimization. Yep. You know, one of the core roots of that is your posts on social media and what you do online and how you interact with others. So while David is saying that with putting up your social handles here, we encourage you not only to do it to us, but to anybody else in your crew or those that you like. Please like what they put out. That little heart on Facebook or on Instagram, or the like thumbs up on Facebook. It means a lot. It means a lot for the boosting of the post, how many people see that post. It means a lot for the company that posts it, or even if it's a single individual, on how many people are actually going to see it. As long as it's good content, and I will repeat that, as long as it is good content. And what do I mean by that? Sexually explicit, drugs, politics. People are getting tired of
Religion.
that. They don't want to see it, and it's not child friendly. You will actually not get, the popularity you think if you're going to put those sort of things up. Say, oh, I'm just going to add this hot girl with her butt turned back in my flyer for my media. Okay, if that's what you want to attract, or that type of, people to your event, then go for it. I'm just going to tell you, if you want a cleaner audience, shall we say, or you want more people to recognize you, that's what you need to do. So I encourage you, please like our stuff, like your friend's stuff, comment in the comment sections, whether it's in the replays or it's here live. And also subscribe to the channel. That way you know when we're live, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook. And hopefully, soon to be, we'll look into it. Soon to be Twitch, right? I don't know. That's another.
Yeah, maybe. Mark Burgess says the other thing I do is, if I want to add a service, karaoke game shows, I secure a contract for those events, and then I use the revenue to buy the gear. Very smart. Makes a lot of sense. All right, these are coming in. These are coming in now, real quick. So, Greg, let me just throw this up real quick. So, if you guys want to connect with DJ Too Tough from the Tough Crew, you can connect with him here on IG, Facebook, Twitter, and then all over the place. So that's perfect. That's the best way to do that. Dennis says, just followed Into Q podcast. Thank you. We will follow you back. I promise, once we get off here, we're going to hit everybody up.
Let me send a shout out to Dennis, because Dennis owns a store in South Jersey. It's in Clementon, New Jersey. It's called Music Jam. So those in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area, Dennis actually used to own what was called, I forget it now. Not the Sound of Market, but it was 940 Market Street in Philadelphia. Stereo Sound, it was called. He was running that. And that was literally, his place. And I would do a lot of classes there, and PV Electronics, we would have a lot of gear there. So I just wanted to send a shout out to Dennis and his new store, so that everybody would go, visit him and say hello. He'll take care if you're in the South Jersey area.
Nice. And I just followed him back too. Kathleen says, good luck with this new podcast. Thank you, Kathleen.
Family's in the house. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed the last name. Yes, it is family. Yeah. It is family.
Got a nice big Irish clan there that follows me around. So yeah, that's awesome. All right, where are we, my friend?
Let's why don't we jump into talking about Name a little bit. Name is one of our major sponsors. Name is somebody, or is an organization that's near and dear to both of our hearts, and it's something that we've both been a part of. I was a part of it heavily for a while back, and then I kind of transitioned out for a little while, and now I'm back again in the fold, and you guys very kindly welcomed me with open arms to be a part of the group again. And so I'll let you start, just a little bit about your thoughts, your experience with Name, and then we'll go from there.
I've got a great story to tell about Name, because really, I mean, I've known them since the beginning. My reasoning in not really joining them is because of my association with that company, the Pros. Because I was a sole independent contractor for them, they covered the liability insurance and everything that I needed. So since I wasn't doing anything on the side, I really didn't need it. But as we got into the years where I was sponsored by PV and different things were happening, I retired from DJing, believe it or not, probably 20 some odd years in with the Pros, because two things were happening. One, my mother had a stroke, one of many. She lived in Florida, and it was my job to, besides my sister, to run down there every time there was a problem and help her. And with that being said, it's hard when you're DJing every weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of retired, and to make a long story short, Carol met me down at a DJ Expo. We got to know each other, and lo and behold, she called me for her daughter's graduation, because she wanted to find a Name member, which I became a member, once I had left the American Wedding Group and told her, look, I was retired, but I will do your event. And she bought me back because at the point, my mother was into the point where she had just passed away. And I was questioning whether I should do this or not. I was also, because my weekends weren't available, I was adopting a little girl at the time. So my weekends, if they weren't taking care of my mother running there, it was each weekend going to take care of, visitation with this little girl. So Carol bought me out of retirement. And I saw nothing but positive energy. And it was the boost that I needed. And because of that, I really opened my eyes to this industry. And I remember what her husband, Bruce, started a long time ago, and did, because I knew him back in the day. But I, once again, couldn't be a member. And when I could become a member, I embraced it fully. Not only did I embrace it fully, I became what the new word of today is called an influencer. Okay.
Yeah.
That is what, if you're an entertainer, or if you're a social media mogul or whatever you're trying to do, that's one of the things that these kids on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook are possibly trying to do, is become an influencer for a brand like PV Electronics, like Name. So I've really said, if I was going to dive into this, what two best companies to do it with than with the National Association of Mobile Entertainers and PV. And because they validated me as a professional, putting their that star, which I call the badge of honor, putting it on my business card, putting it on my website. If you get a business card from me, you will see that badge is on there, and it's on the front. And also, if you look at my website, Current Entertainment, you will see that badge is on there. If you look at the DJ Entertainment School, same thing. It legitimizes you, and it insures me. I was robbed 3 times with the pros, 3 times. And you know what? I thought, oh well, Allstate, they'll cover it. No, they won't. Oh, my homeowners, they'll cover it. Not all of it. Maybe a portion of it. Not until they have to tempt you with insurance fraud, which I didn't want to do. Yeah. So, then you learn, well, then I'm going to have to pay for equipment insurance, let alone liability insurance, because I wasn't walking in the door if I didn't have liability insurance to cover me at certain places in the tri-state area, in Philly, New York, Jersey, or all of those states. I could name 4 or 5 places you can't walk into without liability insurance. So it was a must. And a lot of my friends waited to the last minute to get this. And that's why I said, you know what, I know enough DJs and entertainers on the East Coast that I can say, hey, you know what, let me at least send you to a reputable company that will take care of you, and the reasons why, because of the customer service, because of the pricing, and because they're honest and they're great people to deal with.
Yeah. And, so real quick shout out here to 2 Toughs that have loved PV ever since my first time gazing in awe at the PV exhibit at the DJ Expo a few years back. I can't disagree with that at all. My story with Name is actually interesting as well. I told you kind of earlier in the podcast, I was talking about how when I first started that, I was in radio and then I wanted to transition to this part of DJing, and I started trying to look around and figure out how could I learn more. And remember, this is pre-internet. So I didn't have the luxury of just going on the internet and figuring stuff out. But I started seeing this Name and ADJA, which is American Disc Jockey Association, was another great representation within our industry. But I kept seeing both of these things pop up all the time. And so I did whatever research I could find to get the number of this organization Name. And I called the number, and the gentleman to answer the phone said, Bruce Kessler, how can I help you? Well, that was the owner of Name at the time. And I was, here I am, like a 20-something-year-old kid. I'm nervous as shit. I'm like, oh my God, he's the owner of the place. And I was like, well, sir, I just have some questions. I want to get into this industry, but I'm not sure where to start. I'm not sure what to do. And Bruce, rest his soul, he was gone too quickly. I wish he was still with us. But on that phone call, Bruce probably spent a good 2 to 3 hours with me. and it made such an impression on me because I was like, okay, this guy has no idea who I am. He doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't have any reason to understand, why I'm even calling him in the first place. But instead of sloughing me off and instead of saying, hey, let's talk another time, let me put you on my calendar or whatever, he took the time on the spot right there and then to talk to me for a good 2 or 3 hours. And ever since I had that conversation, I knew that I was going to be attached to this organization somehow. And I knew that I was going to learn the lesson that if I have the ability and the opportunity to help somebody, I'm going to do it. Now, arguably, a lot of us are a little bit busier maybe now than we were 20 years ago. I don't know. So maybe I don't have that opportunity to do it right on the spot like he did, but I'm never going to push somebody away. I'm never going to say, yeah, whatever, we'll talk another time. If I can help you, I want to help you. And so that's kind of my story with NAME. And I've just, met so many great people. That's how you and I met. That's how Matt Peterson and I met. That's how Mark Burgess and I met. That's how, so many DJs that I know. And then going to the expos and being at the expos and the booths and things like that, I've met a lot of the other DJs around the country as well. So it's just been really, really cool. Too Tough again says always the biggest stage and names at the expo in Atlantic City, East Coast legends like Bomb Squad's Keith Shockley, Groove and Cutlass, which stay tuned because maybe we might have those guys on the show down the road. You never know. And then he also says pre-internet DJs had to have a passion, 0 tutorials and less in person. That is so accurate. That is so accurate. DJ Natural Aura says, shout out to Carol, president of NAME. I love her support for all members. The passion Bruce had for members in the past reflects with Carol leading the company now and in the future. Very well said. Very well said. Thank you for sharing that. So, if you're not a member, if you're not familiar with NAME, I definitely encourage you to look into it. I definitely encourage you to look into the reason why you should be a part of it. Daryl says, being a part-time DJ, should you still have insurance? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, Daryl. Well, look, Daryl, I want to shout out to Daryl. Daryl is one of my students as well.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. So we totally would support you, Dennis. But Daryl, and the reason is, besides having insurance for equipment insurance, which I think is the most important thing, because God forbid, not only do you get robbed, but there are stipulations in that insurance is, say you're carrying your $3,000 turntable and you happen to drop it. Now there's stipulations that's accidental. Are you following me with that one? Or all of a sudden water gets spilled on it. Somebody comes up and spills a drink on it. It's not just getting stolen. So there's one aspect of the insurance. But the other big thing is, and Daryl knows this because he lives on the border of Pennsylvania, New Jersey. If you want to step inside of the mansion in Voorhees, New Jersey, if you want to step inside the Camden Aquarium, if you want to step inside and DJ where the Phillies play at Citizens Bank Park, or the Eagles, the Eagle Stadium, all of which you need to have that $1 to $2 million liability insurance before you even step foot there. And most of these now cheesier catering halls, no offense to them, but they pop up everywhere. I call them the McDonald's of catering halls that have 8 or 9 weddings going on at once. They're starting to require it because something has happened. Somebody's gotten drunk. Somebody has hurt somebody. The police have been called and they have been sued. That's why they need their professionals to come in with insurance.
Yeah, and I think that this nice shout out to Current Entertainment from Too Tough. I think that also, going back again to when we first started, Greg, which this is a good 20 years ago, probably it may be longer that we started. And back then, it wasn't as required as it is now. And I always just looked at it as sort of like an integrity issue. And to me, and I know this is not my own personal saying, I know that somebody else has said this way before me, but the thought process of integrity kind of being what you do when you think nobody's paying attention, how you act when you think nobody's paying attention, or you think that nobody's seeing you do what you do. And so to me, it was just an integrity issue to be able to say, hey, I don't really care if people ask me for this or not. What I care about is that as a responsible business owner and as a responsible professional in this industry, I can lead by example. It's not expensive. It should be built into my budget anyways. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that should be optional. It should be a part of your budget.
It's part of your business plan. Do you know it's a law that you have, if you have a car, that you have to have auto insurance?
Right.
How about if you have a house? You have to have mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance?
Yep.
Correct? Where's the law if you own a business that you have to have business insurance?
Yeah, I wish there was one. I wish there was one.
Right. We wish there was one, but it's so important in the auto industry. And now, oh my goodness, well, look at the big insurance problems we're all having now with health care. Right?
Very fair.
Insurance. And people wonder, oh, is insurance important? You're damn right it's important. It's one of the most important things, because you don't know you need it until you need it. And then when you need it, it could be too late. And that is one thing that I hear time and time again from Carol, the owner of Name, or any of us, because it's embedded in our head. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until Friday when you get that call from that catering hall that's not as quick as they are, that says, oh, by the way, we need your insurance policy.
Yep.
Thank God.
And I mean, and if something happens, if somebody gets hurt at an event, if something gets stolen, if something gets broken, you can't retro date it back to cover that situation. I mean, it's very similar, like, to health insurance. So it's super important. So man, this hour has flown by, man. We're about 10 minutes away from kind of hitting this hour.
Can I give a couple selfish plugs real quick that I forgot?
Yeah, do it.
Well, one, I wanted to mention, like you said, I don't know if you could see the card, but right on the card is the Name logo, my business card. I wanted to prove, that's, besides having PV, my picture, and, the Name logo, but also the DJ Entertainment School. I mentioned that I've got my students in here, but the same thing, Name logo on the card. It's an important, people say, well, what is that? And it can also spark conversation when you're talking to your clients and you explain to them that it legitimizes you once again as a business. But the DJ Entertainment School, as you can see it under Dave there, it is, right now we're doing a lot of classes online, and it'll teach you anything really you want in the entertainment industry. If you don't know what you want, there's a menu online. But really, it's, most of the people are saying, well, what controller do I use? What's something that's inexpensive? And then how can you teach me, and what software do I use? And then that's where we go. And in the future, I'm going to be taking a lot of these tips and not everything at once, but just little teasers here and there, and helping everybody along, just like we discussed, a little bit about controllers and what we need to get. We didn't mention anything really, but, we'll give some ideas of all of this, how to help you as a business, and then how to help you once you have that stuff and make it better and some better things. So, besides that too, I have a radio show. I do a lot of mixing, some basic, cutting and scratching, as they say. I mean, I'm really the standard guy. It's Cutlass and Groove and Too Tough. They're the guys that take care of that. But I take care of the basics, okay? And everything that we're going to discuss here is everything that the school can teach. And I have a book. Go to Amazon. How to DJ Weddings and Party. The DJ Entertainment School. I mean, and people have, well, what gives you right to say all this? Besides working, with the largest entertainment service company on the East Coast for almost 25 years and doing their training, because that's really what I did besides managing them, training all the new DJs. I decided to take it, finally into my semi-retirement and help everybody. I didn't want to be that guy to say, you're going to need your lumps, kid, or you're going to need your lumps, dude, whatever, and not help you, thinking that you are going to become my competition. Competition is good sometimes.
Absolutely. And it breeds a lot of professionalism.
Well, being a Name member, for example, they have a search engine right on their site. And it was the one thing that I wanted to make sure I shouted out. And this gives me a way to do it. If you have people that are in your area and you're looking for somebody to back you up, I would go on the Name's website, go into your town and find out who are the closest Name members surrounding you, get in touch with them and make a deal with them and say, hey, if I ever get in trouble, can I call on you? What would it cost me if there was a problem? And do the same with them. So this way you have a backup or a contingency plan is what I like to say. So
yeah, absolutely, man. That's good. And by the way, the website is nameentertainers.com. Nameentertainers.com is where you can go to find that out. Well, before we run out of time, Greg, let's just spend a couple minutes
Mhm.
let's just spend a couple minutes talking about the Winter NAMM show going virtual.
Yeah.
I think we definitely need to hit that real quick before we get out of here, and then I'll let you talk about that because I know that's your wheelhouse. And if you guys do have any last minute questions or anything you guys want us to try to attack in the next 10 minutes or so, please drop it in the comments
My
before we
question,
get out of here.
Dave, have you ever been to NAMM?
I have. It's been years since I've been there, but it's been years.
I never have. I had the opportunity to go last year. Actually, the guys from the Senate DJs, they said, all right, come with it. I thought it was something like the Expo where you just sign up on a website, pay some money, and poof, you're in. That's what I thought it was. Technically, to get into NAMM, you have to be invited, and you either have to be invited by them, the organization, or a larger company that has invites to invite you. So that is what I had to do. Luckily, I was lucky enough. I think it was either Reloop or Innofader, one of the two companies that were gracious enough to allow me to come to NAMM with them. But once again, part of the Senate DJs family, and I can't say enough about these guys. So once again, SenateDJs.com, SENATE DJs.com. Check them out, and who knows, maybe you could be a member, start at the bottom, work your way up. But anyway, they got me out there, and it was an amazing thing. It was if you've been to the DJ Expo, imagine the DJ Expo on steroids 100 times. 100 times. And it's no joke. There were so many exhibition halls. I probably couldn't have gone through it if I stopped at every one for 5 minutes in the week's time that they had it. That is how big this thing was. And if you look up the map, you'll see it. But I was invited this year by another company and them, and they sent out a link. And I thought, well, I wonder if this link was private and it was only for me. I tried to do it from another computer, and lo and behold, it worked. So I thought it was a good thing that we should share with our people, because the whole thing right now, it's all online. I think they call it Believe in Music. Is that their theme?
Yeah. Yep. Believe in Music. Yep.
Yeah, it's Believe in Music. It is next week. Do you have the dates in front of you?
I should have been more prepared. I'm sorry, I don't.
No, I think I pulled it up. If I'm not mistaken, it's the 18th through the 22nd. But you know what to do. We will whatever how we can post this link that people will see. Let me see here. I wonder if there's a way I can post this link up.
What's the link for it? I can just type it in the chat real quick.
Boy, it's really to register for the Believe in Music experience. So hold on, let me see here.
All right.
All right.
See, this is the fun of live television, people. We have to just go on the fly and do what we're doing as we can. Oh, look at here. We already got it. Namefoundation.org.
Perfect.
There we go. Not name, sorry, NAMM. NAMMfoundation.org.
Look, I would bet that they're allowing everybody in. All you have to do is really have that link. If there are problems and you don't have, or you can't find the registration link, hit either of us up on social media, because
man, thank you for this. Thank you. This is really cool. Thank you so much.
From GPS there. But yeah, it's really a cool thing. Now that it's virtual, just at least to give you the experience. It's expensive to fly out to Anaheim, California, and go there and do all this. But it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was something that was great to see. But yeah, go to nammfoundation.org and sign up. See if you can't sign up and register. And look, maybe it's just a day or two, but there are a lot of large companies, not just those that are at the expo, but there are music making companies, there are instrument companies. There is a lot that goes on at NAMM. So that was one of the big things, really, and I appreciate you for bringing that up, David, that I wanted to share with everybody from our podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the show, you guys. Greg, who's gonna be? We got our first guest next week, right?
Oh, my goodness, we do have our first guest next week. You know what? Do I have? Oh, you know what? Next week, I'm wondering if he's in the house. He hasn't even said hello, but that's okay. I probably didn't even remind him. DJ Jeff Rush. Jeff Rush is and when you classify music, I would classify Jeff as a vocal trance artist. and a vocal trance DJ, even though he can play, all types of other music. But he's probably one of the top 5 vocal trance DJs on the East Coast.
Interesting.
If not, within the nation. I don't know much about it, but at least as far as the East Coast and what they've got going on, Jeff is hot.
Well, we're gonna learn more about that and more about him next week. And then, hey, what's that?
And how to make music. That's the theme. I didn't want to forget. Ooh. I didn't mean to step on top of you, but that's really the theme for the next few weeks. And if you want to learn how to create music, edit music, take your game to a different level, that's what we're going to hopefully hit on with a couple of our guests.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for watching our first show here. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell anybody in the industry about it. We're gonna, God, Lord willing, we're gonna be on every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whatever time frame that is for you. And if you happen to miss the show or you want to go back and watch the show again, you can do that at intheqpodcast.com. Honestly, right now, that's just going to be forwarding to our YouTube channel, but that's where we'll be housing all of those videos. And you guys can catch those later on. If you have a topic for the show, please be sure to, reach out to us and let us know. If there's a way that you can contribute to the show, if you want to be a guest on the show, anything you want to do, just hit us up, man. This show is for you guys as much as it is for us to have some fun sharing this information with you. So thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you guys joining us. A great name for the cast. Thank you. Trust me, we had to really think about what to call this thing, and we called it something else, and then we switched it to this. So we're in good shape. All right, Greg, you want to send us out tonight?
Yeah, look, don't forget, follow us on social media, no matter what medium. Even if you want to help us out, go to YouTube, find us, go to Facebook, find us, go to Instagram, find us, like us, subscribe to us. And please put some comments down, even in the replays. And thank you. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. We're going to have Jeff Rush next week. And then in the future, and Too Tough, we're going to get you on hopefully sometime in February. So you and I will talk. We'll talk about that. And we'll go from there. All right.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night. We appreciate y'all. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye.